Welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you, we're going to go through another match using the method 1. This is the Finnish Veikkausliiga. It's Ilves versus KuPS. It'll be Thursday 17th September 4:30 p.m. Now things I'll point out to you, difference in match odds, it's 3.2 home odds, 2.56 away back odds, so that's within the range that we want. It's less than 1.25. If we look at the under 2.5 goals odds, it's 1.73, so that is below our limit of 1.85, so that meets the criterion. On the correct score side, we've got just over £2,000 matched at the moment. This is about 3 hours before kickoff that I'm making this video, and what you will see down here is that the amount matched on the under 3.5 goals market is only £26. Now I have recommended that you do not place bets unless that market is up near £1,000 or more, ideally. I'm gonna go in on this match. The back and the lay odds are fairly close together, which does suggest there is money in the market either side of those of the back and lay odds, which suggests there is some money in the market, even though there hasn't been a lot of money matched. But for the benefits of this sort of demonstration, I'm going to go in on this match. So it shows that the rules are pretty rigid, unless you want to relax them, as I'm doing. But certainly when you're starting out using this method, then I suggest that you stick rigidly to the rules that I've stated in video 2. There is one other feature of this match that I will point out. That is, if we click on the head-to-head box here, you'll see that we come up with absolutely no information as to the team's performance or head-to-head scores. Now there is a way round that, because it is useful information to have, and the way we do that is we go to another website, which I shall click on now, and I shall just move the video box up for you. And this is a website that some of you are probably already familiar with. It's www.soccerstats.com, and this site has a whole variety of statistical information for various leagues and obviously the teams that play in those leagues. And what we have across the top here are various national flags with a 2-letter code, 3-letter code that identifies a country. If we want leagues that aren't listed in the top here, we can click on all leagues on the right hand side. But we want Finland, which is FI, and I'm sure you recognise the Finnish flag from your school days. And what we need to do is to go to this box along here, which is labelled H2H. Click on that, and then up will come this particular page where we can select the home team, which is Ilves, the away team, which is KuPS, and then what you'll see here is here you see 17th September. There's the match that we are looking at now. It shows the position of each team in the league. So Ilves is 8th, KuPS is 7th. And if we scroll down, we will get all of the information for the past matches that have been played, in this case right from April right down to September. Okay, so we've got a lot of information here. Now what I concentrate on are two main things. What I want to know is, have the teams met in the past year, and what was the score. And you'll see here that Ilves met Cups 12th of July, score ended 1-0, so that's well within the bounds, was well within the range that we want to have a successful Dutching bet. I would also look to see if there's Cups versus Ilves, the reverse way round. In fact, they haven't played in that way yet. In fact, the first time they play is in fact 20th of September, so that's in 3 days time, so it is possible that we'll be using them as a bet then. The other thing to look at is to scroll down. Actually, some information missing here. Let me just pause the video whilst I refresh the screen. Okay, that's finally got this information in that was missing in the earlier part of this presentation. If we scroll down, you'll come to this box here which has the scoring, shows the two teams, gives an indication of goals scored and conceded both home and away. The average scored and conceded at home for Ilves is 1.5 goals. The average scored and conceded away for Cups is 2.54. It would have been nice if that figure had been below 2, and I would normally be looking for that as a figure. But the other thing we want to look at are the scores at home for the home team and the scores away for the away team. And if we go down this list of scores at home for the home team, Ilves, then you see all of these scores are scores that would be successful for our Dutching purposes. On the away team, then when they're playing away, then as you can see we've got a 5-0 which would be losing, we've got 2-3 which would be losing, but all of the other scores would be successful. Now once again, ideally I would like all of these scores to be one of the 11 scores that we are covering. But I'm fairly confident, or pretty confident, from the other rules that we've met, that have been met from the Method 1 rule sheet, that this will be a suitable match for us to get involved with, and obviously time will tell if that was a wise decision. But I'm happy with it, and I've already worked out the where are we? Let me move the video box down a bit. I've already worked out the stakes that are required, so I'm now just going to place them. I'll do that quite quickly so you can see that I'm doing it and it's genuine. So under 3.5, odds of 1.27, the stake is £39.32. I'm sticking to a £45 total stake. Place bets, that's been matched. The next one is the 2-2 score, odds of 19, stake is £2.63. Place bets. Now in video 2 I showed you how to place bets less than £2 on Betfair, and I did that each bet at a time. There is a slightly quicker way to do it where you do have more than one bet that you want to place. So I want to place the 1-3 bet, and I also need to place 3-1. And if you remember, what we do is we increase the odds, so I'm going to make that 50, put in a £2 bet. 3-1, I'm going to increase 36 to 50, make that a £2 bet, put place bets. Okay, now if you remember, we just alter the stake. The 1-3 stake that I want is £1.66, so I add the £2 to £1.66, that's £3.66. And the 3-1 odds stake is £1.39, add that to £2, that's £3.39. Okay, If you've forgotten how to do this and you want to see it done in more detail, then I suggest you go back to the relevant section of video 2. So I now cancel the £2 bets, click on update. Now this particular bet, the 1-3 bet, is once again very useful because the odds that I've got here are 29. That's what's available right now. However, when I check the odds a bit earlier on, the odds that I've worked out the Dutching stake for are odds of 30. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the 30. I could go in at 29, but I'll make slightly less profit on that particular score. What I'd want to do is obviously have the same profit throughout for all of the scores. So I'm going to leave that as 30 because the odds will probably drift up over time, certainly once the match starts, and there may well be some odds drift pre-kick-off. The 3-1 odds were 36 as I worked it out, and they still are 36, I think. So if I click on update, click on go to my bets, there we are. What's happened is I've got £1.30 of the 1-3 score odds at odds of 30, and there's just 36 pence outstanding. So I'm going to leave that. In fact, I shall click the keep box so that if that doesn't get matched by the time the match starts, then it will be matched soon after the match has been running for probably within 5-10 minutes, I would think. But I do confidently expect that will get matched before then. So that's set the bets up. So it's now just a case of waiting till 4:30 for the match to kick off. So I'll stop the video now and I'll come back at that stage and we can look and see how things are going. It's now half time in the Ilves Cups match, and you'll see that the score is 0-0. The first half has been very quiet. There is a red card there for Cups, which is always a little bit of a warning sign, because obviously if you've got 11 men playing 10 men, it does then suggest that Ilves is, or the home team, is going to be more dominant in play, and this might mean that there's the risk that more goals can be scored. But I'll show you how we will deal with that, I think, in this match. But the first thing I'll point out is if we go over here to the staking for the correct score market, you'll see that I did get that last little bit of money matched for the 1-3 correct score bet at odds of 30. So I didn't have to accept the odds of 29 that were available when I was placing the bet, so managed to get everything placed at exactly the odds that I'd set the Dutching up for. Now, one of the nice things about a 0-0 score line at half time is that we have, if I scroll down here, is that we are now in a position where the cash out on the over under 3.5 goals market is now £8.52. So if I was to cash out there now, then I would lose, obviously, if the score is not 2-2, 3-1 or 1-3, I would lose £5.68. So getting my calculator, that's £8.52 minus £5.68. Profit would be £2.84. That's a real profit, because the figures that are shown on the screen here are allowing for Betfair commission, so there won't be an extra 5% taken off these figures. These are allowing for the roughly 5% commission fee. Now the profit with the profit with the Dutching selections as we set them up with the stakes and everything, we had about an 11% return. With a £45 stake, that is a profit of £4.94, but we do have to take 5% off that, which is roughly, it brings it down to about £4.70. So we've got £2.84 that we could have right now. Now £2.84 as a percentage of £4.70 is 60%. Okay, so it is always very tempting at this stage to say, is it better to cash out with a guaranteed amount of money at half time rather than risk losing money in the second half where we might have more than 3 goals, or a score that is certainly going to cause us to lose the bet. This is a decision that only you can make. I don't like red cards for the very simple reason it's now altered the way that the game might be played in the second half. So I think there's a risk that the home team here, Ilves, could end up scoring 3-4 goals. I might be wrong, and that's of course always the risk that you take. So I'm going to play safe. I'm going to show you how to play safe. Might at the end of the match say, there you are, that was obviously an excellent decision to take. Or it might be a case of my saying, okay, well, we could have stayed in and made more money. I always urge on the side of caution. With this technique, with method 1, to exit trades, I think you do need to always be looking at, can I get out now for a profit that I'm happy with? May not be the biggest profit that you could make if everything goes as planned, but the key thing is I would far rather have 100% of my matches profitable with slightly less than maximum profits than say have 90% or 95% of matches profitable and have 5% that are where the whole stake is lost. I think it's far better to play safe and take a profit where you can. So I'm actually going to cash out now, so I can show you how that's done. It is quite simple. You just press the button and you then have to wait. When you're betting in play, then the market, it takes about 5 or 6 seconds for the bet to actually go through the market. Now here you see it does say the cash out was successful. I didn't get £8 for it, I just got over £8. The odds, don't forget, are always changing as money flows in and out, into the market. But I'm now in a position now where I can just sit back and know, I absolutely 100% know that I'm going to make a profit at the end of this match. Now there is one additional feature of doing it this way, which some of you may have already spotted. I haven't done any sort of cashing out on the correct score market. I don't have the option to do that. If that was to come up, then I might be able to cash out for a loss that's less than £5.68 on most of the scores. But even if I can't do that, you'll notice that the worst profit that I can make is basically £8 minus £5.68, which is £2.32. But of course we do have these green amounts still under the correct scores of 1-3, 2-2 and 3-1. So if the final score was to be, let's say, 2-2, okay, I would make £42.08 on the correct score market. In addition, I would be making £8 on the over 3.5 goals market. So in fact I end up with a very nice profit indeed. So maybe I do want to wish that there will be a lot of goals scored in the second half, because whatever happens, I'm going to make a profit. I will either just make a reasonable profit, £2.32, or I will make a much higher profit. £2.32, incidentally, just working it out, is a 5.2% return on investment, which is not too bad. Certainly better than you're going to get from the building society, who will pay you less than that, and you have to give them your money for a year, whereas we've made this in basically 45 minutes. So that's all that I think I need to point out to you at this stage. What I will do is I will pause the video now, and I will come back at the end of the match and show you what the final result was. Welcome back. We're nearly at the end of the match. As you can see, in the 92nd minute, so that's in injury time, the home team has scored a goal. The second half, as you can see, was very quiet. The red card that occurred at the end of the first half obviously didn't have an effect on whether or not one team was going to dominate the other. But the home team is now 1-0. We've probably got about another 1 or 2 minutes before the match actually ends. So cashing out at half time certainly wasn't the it was the right thing to do given the information that we had then, but as I said earlier, this is one of the decisions you have to make, because the universal law of cussedness would have said that if we had have continued with the bets, then we may have found that there was suddenly a little flurry of goals in the second half, which may have caused concern, or could even have caused us to lose the bet. So personally, I'm always happier to have the money sort of in my account as profit, rather than worry by the fact that I didn't make an extra £2.60. But that's the name of the game. The choice is yours as to whether or not you follow my advice. If the red card hadn't have occurred, then I certainly would have continued with the bets right until the end of the match, or until the situation was such that I had to take other action. So I'll just leave this going until the match does finally end. We should hear the match ended buzzer coming up soon, because 4 minutes of extra time have been played. I wouldn't imagine there'd be a lot more that needs to be added, and more time that needs to be added on. So whilst we're waiting for that, this has been quite a useful exercise. I hope it's shown you what a match can go like, the things to look out for. Certainly future videos where we cover future matches will we've got suspended sign, there we are, it is now full time. Just wait for the little whistle to go off as we all hear from the flash score site. But yes, as I was saying, what you need to do is to certainly future videos will cover hopefully more complex situations, so that you can see what you need to be aware of. There it goes. And that will help give you some experience. But the best experience you can have is literally by going through matches yourself and observing what's going on, because with the best will in the world, all matches can be totally different. Goals will be scored at different times. The market will react in different ways, because even if goals are scored at exactly the same time, we are dealing with the overall feelings of a lot of people placing bets into the market, and whereas with one match they might think that one team, regardless of what the scores are more likely to be the winning team, whereas in another match where the goals have occurred at exactly the same time, they might think that the other team has a better chance of winning. So that's me finished for this match. I'm now going back to the Betfair homepage, and I'm going to try and select another match so that I can make a bit more money tonight. So I'll speak to you in another video.